Okay. Oof. Yeah, I've been having a lot of prayer connections to a friend of my nephew's. He's the football coach in New Mexico State named Tony Sanchez. Well, one time after one of the football games, I'm pretty sure it was Steve Subia. It sounded like him. Sat there and said the coach should be fired because he wasn't impressed with what he was doing, and the other coach was better, and he was, And Tony had a stint at UNLV, and after having a very successful high school coaching career in New Mexico, and found out the politics is really rough, and then was asked to come here and coach by Coach Jerry Kills. You know who he is, yeah. And stuff. And Tony was coaching the defense, and we had a really good defense under those teams. It was probably the best part of our teams. The reason why we were so successful was mostly because of our defense. The offense sometimes would show up and sometimes wouldn't. So it was mostly the defense that got him to those bowl games, winning those bowl games, and again those things. It was on the defensive side of the ball, which subsequently is why Tony was hired to take over the team. And defensive talent, you sometimes have a better capacity to keep your defensive talent together than you do your offensive talent. Offensive talent gets poached by the big schools. The defensive talent can, and you understand, okay, because if they're good players and if they get offered to the big school where they came from to go back home, be around their baby mama, thing like that, that kind of stuff does happen, okay? But a lot of times you can set up, now that with NIL and stuff like that, you can set up conditions for the baby mama to come live in a nice community here in Las Cruces and get out of whatever place they came from where they have a lot of trifling rival gang bullshit stuff, and they won't have that same problem here. The stuff that happened with Michael Peake and all the guys at the NMSU basketball and stuff like that, that was just bringing the shit with you. And what Tony tells his kids is don't bring the shit with you, okay? If you want to get away from that stuff, leave it there, but don't bring it here. This is a totally different climate. It's got different gangs, different this, different that. All you have to do is just keep your nose clean and stay on campus. And don't go off campus looking for trouble, and you'll be okay. Okay. That's just Tony. He's just, my nephew told me, my nephew Jordan told me, Tony's the real deal. Okay. He's the real deal. He'll get the job done, and he'll help these kids. Okay. And I was like, are you sure? And then I connect, and I'm like, yeah. Most of Tony's kids, I've had a few that, got a little stupid with me, but very few. Most of them are very respectful and don't treat me like I'm lying, okay? And like I told the one kid from San Diego's quarterback, it's like I can't be in control of and correct quantum computing if I lie. So everything I say the Rockefellers have to have quantum computing evidence of. So the car crash, that I didn't have any blunt force trauma, me jumping over Chris, me outrunning the entire planet in high school, yes. Okay. When Danny Ainge was standing in front of me talking about Flip Sanders with two other guys in front of me and Patrick, and I looked like Kevin from A Monster in Law, right, with my little gorgeous, Orlando Bloom, elf-looking little, half Hayden Christensen, half Brown, gorgeous kid, Natalie. He looks like, sometimes he looks like Will Smith, sometimes he looks like Hayden Christensen, sometimes, because he's mixed. He's of mixed tribes, okay? But he has certain things, and Natalie says that. She's like, Will Smith, Patrick runs just like him. It's like, no, he runs like Patrick. Patrick's hellified a lot faster than Will Smith is, Natalie. Okay. Patrick's my son. Okay. Patrick can motor, okay? But Danny Ainge didn't know he was standing next to the fastest man on the planet in his generation, and then the next fastest man on the planet in his generation, right? Reason why Patrick didn't college stuff is because Patrick was taking care of his mom and raising his calm and always getting in trouble, having to beat up all the bullies at his high school, and all the bullies at the high school were the jocks. He was an outlaw like his father, and his grandpa and the rest of us were outlaws, right? And that's why Patrick didn't get scholarship offers until the coach told him he was selfish because he wanted to run the 100 because she said he couldn't get out the blocks fast enough. And he said, no, I can't. But by 50 yards, I am gaining speed, and by 90 yards, I'm 5 yards ahead of him. And he kept telling her that. She goes, no, Patrick, you're wrong. You can't get out the blocks fast enough. He goes, I know, but me and my friends time me. And I get out real slow because I'm 6'5". Okay? But by the time the 100-meter dash is over, okay, the little swollen, cocky, macho running back who's 5'9" and 195 pounds next to me is wondering how the fuck that 6'5", 165-pound guy caught him at 60 yards and then blew him away, you know. And I remember telling him, Marvin and Paul and the football coaches at New Mexico State, if you guys, want to, try to get a hold of my son and bring him out here, he's out of the military. If he gets out of the military, he still has eligibility. He could come play for one of your sports teams. He's 6'5" and faster than Usain Bolt. Okay, he's my son. People thought I was talking shit. I wasn't talking shit. And now everybody knows he wasn't talking shit. No, Patrick was in the USA Today in his freshman year as one of the fastest guys in the state of Arizona in the 200. Okay, he's number 3, and he was a sophomore. Okay, so I'm not talking shit about my son. My son, me and my son are we're pretty exceptional in numerous aspects. Okay, we just reject bullshit. We're the type of people, if you treat us with disrespect, we'll just laugh at you and we won't play for you. Just like my mom with Coach Kaufman and Coach Oliver, and the football coaches at Cruces and Mayfield. Why didn't you try out for the football team? Martin brought me down here, told you I was the best player in the whole state and would take state, be the shutdown corner and the wide receiver that was the great Frisbee catching dog that could catch anything you threw, and you laughed in my face. I was going to tell him to come out here and prove it. I said, he's telling you. He already knows. He didn't take Martin's word for it. He just laughed at me, looked at me, and he laughed. I said, fuck that. I'm not going to come here to an asshole that disrespects me. He wouldn't sit there and walk up to me like Jim Miller with James Hall, okay? Because I looked like Ralph Macchio with long hair. And he looked at me and he laughed. That guy, Daniel LaRusso, is the best wide receiver and cornerback in all of New Mexico? Yeah. Ask Marty Villalobos. I'm just kidding. No, Marty was a skinny kid, but he can move. Yeah, he's really fast. He was pretty quick, yeah. He played for Burgess High School. Yeah. So he looked black. His name was Villalobos. He's a very dark indigenous person. And he was quick. He was little and he was fast. He had a real good night against Cruces when I went to go watch him. And Marty had a real good night. Probably had over 100 yards receiving. The Cruces' corners couldn't stop him. Marty would have hated me. It's like, God dang, you're good. Don't hate me, man. I do this with everybody. Like with old Gordon, That kid was about 6'4", 235 pounds, okay? And it was like to be one-on-one, because you know how big guys play basketball. They do their elbows all the time. They swing their elbows to hit you, okay? And he got frustrated because he could not out-position me for rebounds and could not establish position. He would try to pump me off of his butt and do the Barkley and push me out of the way, and I just matadored his ass. He'd lose his balance and he'd fall down and I'd steal the ball. I did it all the time. He was not quick enough to stop me from denying him entry, and then when he tried to box me out, I just stepped back and he almost fell down. There was nothing he could do. It was like Bruce Lee, okay, playing basketball against Kurt Rambis, and Kurt Rambis trying to kick Bruce Lee's ass. It wasn't happening. God damn. Yes. And he tried to hit me. I didn't get upset with it the same way, because, that's just how big guys play. They just lead with those elbows, throw those elbows. They do it all the time. So I just took it as, he just trying to, he did it on purpose. But Kaufman didn't care. He was trying to teach me a lesson because I was cocky and thought I was all that. No, I didn't think I was all that, and I wasn't cocky. I was very modest, but God, I'm still all that. Okay? Brian Cox knows it. Neil deGrasse Tyson knows it. Stephen Bartlett knows it. Okay? Richard Dawkins knows it. If Chris Hitchens, Stephen Hawking knew it. Yeah, he knew. That man had telepathic type abilities and stuff. That's how he out-anticipated everybody in debates and in projects at his school. It also debilitated him immensely because he misused his talents for selfishness. You know, a lot like Edgar Cayce. Okay. Edgar Cayce, other people had him do it, and he stopped doing it, and it didn't affect him. I've never used my talents to try to outcompete people to kill them over money. So therefore, I heal from chemical poisoning better than most people. But the thing is with my cousin Nesta, okay, the melanoma that I have is my body getting poisons out of my body at weak spots, at spots that can handle nerve damage and the body still survive and maintain the vital organs. Okay, like with McCain, it was his ears and other parts, because if this part of your ear goes, you'll be okay. But the melanoma the melanoma is aggressive and tries to get the poisons out of the spots that the body can sacrifice to still survive. With Bob, it went into his foot because it was injected into his thigh by a CIA operative that put the foreign melanoma in him, developed in a lab through the Tuskegee experience to specifically murder him. Okay? They were not allowed to do that with me. They were allowed to poison me and see what my body did with the melanoma. Okay, David? Okay, Steve? Do you understand? I know Sedalia does, because I talked many times that my cousin was poisoned and that I was very pissed off about it, and I'm still pissed off about it to this day. I'm never going to not be pissed off about my cousin being poisoned to death for being better than all your politicians, okay? Even better than the Kennedys? Is Junior telling everybody that David's dad on social media, that David's dad was murdered by the CIA through the Tuskegee experiments? Well, then yeah, better than all your politicians. Okay? The apple and the tree have to work appropriately for the trees to grow. I love you, Sedalia. Okay. Sit here and ask David and Steve if they're okay. They're poisoning you to death. You look very healthy, David. Yeah. I don't trust your tech support. I hope you don't either. I love you. I love you guys a lot. You know, you're my cousins, and you get up and do a lot more for the children of the world to stop being abused by economics than any of my cousins on this side of the family that think I'm a crazy person because I think I'm God according to their imagination. Okay, I love them. I'm just sick of their brain abuse through their tech support. Keep abusing me, you know. Like the whole thing with Elijah, you know, he stands up to me to try to stand up for everybody else who's acting like a coward because they won't stand up for each other with me. And I'm like, you do know everybody's watching this in the future on quantum computing, and that you're just making an ass of yourself because none of you can admit you're wrong. Okay, you're standing up to look tough to the wrong guy. Okay, and all that stuff. No, none of the stuff with the drug dealer with the Bruja mom was engineered. Okay. It wasn't because SWAT with Hondo, Deke, Street, and all those guys were outside ready to pounce if anything went wrong in that store. So Parsons wasn't made so they could bring money over their parking lot. No. All that stuff, none of that stuff was engineered. It happened because of the way things happened. Like with Roger Alvarez. Rockefeller did not like Roger Alvarez. Rockefeller did not like his parents. Okay? Vicious, sodomizing, fuck women into the gangbangers that talk about how hard it is being a tough guy and how the other guys are jealous of them. It's like, stop fucking your girl in the ass to make her tough and keep her from having babies so you don't always have to pay money for your babies to the man. Okay? So Buddy was friends with Roger, and I tried to get Roger and turn him from, you know, barbarous to an apostle. And then I met him at the store, and he talked about all his trials and tribulations and acted like an apostle. And then when I told him the stories, and that lady with the little half-black daughter jumped me in the parking lot with the man who wouldn't look me in the face. She said, somebody's going to hurt you for what you said. For saying what? About food stamps. And I said, you heard what I said. No, she didn't. She was too fucking stupid. She didn't hear a goddamn thing I said. And Roger didn't stand up and say, he was protecting you and your daughter and saying that you weren't a dredge on society. I was paying with food stamps. And my card wasn't working. And he explained what happened to him in Arizona with people with that and how he stood up for him. That's what he was saying. You just weren't fucking listening because you're a dumb bitch. He didn't say that. He just sat there. All that talk on his rap albums, I kicked this guy's out, and he gets into fights with a bunch of pussies that fight over fucking girls in the ass and over money to talk about themselves on records at clubs. But he didn't stand up for a man who gets up to stop human trafficking in Cochise County and Doñana County all by himself. Okay? Rockefeller knows what the fuck he's doing when he doesn't. And I tried to get through to all of Roger's family on Facebook, and they all ignored me. There was the one little girl that kind of, oh, Build Me Up Buttercup, that was my favorite song is all that. And I complimented her and said, you're very pretty and all that. And then she acted like I was this creepy old guy trying to hit on her. It's like, I wasn't trying to hit on you. I was trying to compliment you. Most women are flattered and say, maybe he likes me. I don't know how to love him. I don't know why he moves me. I do, because he's the only man that will stop children from getting tagged, ragged, and raped in Mexico because he doesn't want a job to make movies about it. I know why I move you. I know why you don't know how to love me, because you want a job too. Shit. But I had a good conversation with Tony. I like Tony a lot, but he's in a very uncomfortable position like Mario Mocha, and they're scared. And I'm like, you shouldn't be scared. Right? Because I'm in control of quantum computing. If you guys took me to campus and gave me a $20,000 advisory job on the coaching staff and took me with you, okay, on the flights, okay, that would be better protection from global collective technology than old dingbat in DC gets everywhere he goes. And Elon Musk and his flying washing machines. Yeah. If you want your team traveling safe in this hell because no one else will stand up for it, and then you'd give Parsons access to other cities, and people can have the opportunity to interview him and come and interview and see what he talks about at the controversial things he talks about, like he talks about on his YouTube with the kids. So if you don't like it, if you don't like this isn't training, this is living truth. And if you don't like living truth and you don't like hearing the truth, right? You know this fucking community. I didn't know this fucking community until I came back to it. Okay? That lady that I talked to at the soup kitchen and said, the military is rape the dog or we'll kill you. Okay? And she looked at me like I'm talking inappropriate, knowing damn well that at that community Hope, at the tent cities, drug deals with raping of young girls happens every day and every night, and they all talk shit about it. But they won't get up and do anything about it. I will. And then when I tell her about the perverts in the military in this town that run their businesses off of this and put drugs and medication in the people's donation food because they're getting rid of the dredge of society, because they're the Malfoys, and this bullshit menagerie, they invent their own conditions for heroes and villains, guys. You cannot create. Okay? Nobody creates anything. Everybody invents and manipulates and causes the conditions. Okay? When they get that video, this was God. People driving around in cars and doing things just like God. Okay, God's the essence of all existence. Okay. What was God doing when Hitler killed Anne Frank's family for money? Was God punishing the Franks for being Jewish and rewarding Hitler for being the Messiah of Germany? And then when our soldiers were brought in after we liquidated all those dead Jews' assets through Swiss bank accounts to come and clean up the mess, okay? When Hitler killed himself because his business partners in the U.S. turned his back on him because they couldn't control their own society, because Hollywood wasn't buying all of the white supremacy, and they were counteracting it with Charlie Chan, Mr. Moto, and Mantan Moreland, right? Shit. What about Amos and Andy? Well, that too. You know what I'm saying? And the Cotton Club, right? And so, Earl, no, you've never met a bigger ball of selfish, lying hypocrites than you have in this new batch. Okay? This new batch is worse than the old batch that sexually groomed my wife and it affected her kids. Well, because the old batch didn't have me shutting it all down with everybody recording it on camera and studying it on quantum computing, and me every day to walk them through hell so they could get the fuck on out. Okay? There's less excuse to be in the military and consider yourself a fucking superhero. There's less excuse to be a mega star and a mega mogul with the best, richest library that you have property rights to of singing and writing movies and making better and better franchises every year with your movies. You're worse than the assholes before you. You're way worse than Porter Wagner, Tennessee Ernie Ford, okay? Pebbles, L.A. Reid, Smokey Robinson, Barry Gordy, okay? And Steven Seagal. Because you have more help and more information to save yourself from your egos than any group of egomaniacs has ever had in the history of the world. Okay? Krishnamurti didn't have a Facebook and a YouTube. Suzuki didn't have a Facebook and a YouTube. Sun Yat-sen did not, and Haile Selassie did not have a Facebook and or YouTube. I do. The only thing that Facebook and YouTube has ever gotten me was horrific, disgusting harassment from scientific bullshit artists that are complete egomaniacs. Okay? Sorry, I'm watching the football. Hatch Valley and Chap. Okay, Hatch is in the red and Chap's in the black. Okay. I wasn't sure which one was which. It's cute. Yeah, see, the reason why they don't do a lot of recruiting is Chap beat Hatch Valley is that our teams are really small. You see them? We got really small football teams. And so they don't take our football that seriously because we have a lot of very small teams that people play against. We're in a Mexican community. We have a lot of the people here, they're genetically smaller than people in Nebraska or Minnesota. You know, that's why Minnesota won 6 national championships back in the day when we were dumb. We're not dumb anymore. But you fuckers still wish you were dumb again. But because I was listening to that out in the barn. All these people, Patrick didn't grow up like that. Patrick grew up 2 miles north of Van Buren. Okay? His dad ran craft meth lab people out of their apartments for causing fumes to go into other people's apartments that had little children. His dad ran Crips off that ripped off single mothers and beat their baby mamas. Okay? What do you mean Patrick didn't grow up in as tough of an environment or as hard of an environment as Ahmad Ali Lewis or Dr. Dre and Craig and Smokey? You think my son's full of shit about where he grew up? 2 miles from Van Buren in Phoenix, Arizona? You think the assholes that kill people over drug money do it more stupid and insidiously in LA than they do in Phoenix? Got a dumbass with a gun and a bank account through selling drugs and pimping women is just as fucked 2 miles north of Van Buren as they are in Campton or Watts. Back in the day when we were dumb as fuck, we were not dumb as fucking. You're dumber than fuck. You are dumber than fuck now. Okay? Back then, people were dumb as fuck, but you are dumber than fuck now. I guarantee it. And we caught you on camera. We stayed until it was over. Okay? Rockefeller and Rothschild, okay, okay, played you like an indoor sport. They're dead and they're still playing you like an indoor sport because they trusted Parsons and they didn't trust any of you. And, you know, I'm sure they're glad they did. Well, life's eternal, grace is infinite. They hate people in their family that have people get in my face and tell me we could run you over the parking lot of Best Buy if you didn't exist. The only guy I ever knew who killed somebody to fuck his wife was King David. What are you doing? I'm making videos to help stop human trafficking in Mexico. What are you doing? My name's Joel, and you're sitting there with that camera 100 yards from a vacation Bible school at the church where my nephew and my niece got married, you know, his wife got married. You live in Las Cruces, huh? And you don't know who I am. So you haven't heard of Captain Ralph Sparrow. Okay. He probably had. He was just being an ass because he thought he was a better person than me. There's lots of assholes in this town that think that. Obviously there's more in El Paso because there's a larger population of assholes in El Paso than there is in Las Cruces. It's just sheer mathematics. There's only about 100,000 people in Las Cruces, maybe 200 in the county. Okay? And El Paso and Juarez? You want to talk about being Sicaro? Is that the Coen brothers? Okay. Do they own a baseball team or a soccer team? Did they build the new cancer research hospital so your kids don't have to drive all the way to Phoenix or Dallas to get bombarded with radiation? You can have it right here in your own hometown? It's for pendejo. I know. Okay? Guys, I know assholes. I've been living around them my whole life. I was born in Las Cruces, effing fucking New Mexico. Okay? I know how self-righteous and stupid and fucked and brain damaged these people are. And when you explain it to them on social media from February 11th till August, what's the day? I don't know what day. Hey, wait up. We got the TV on. Hit the button, Earl. What is it? Michael Gobin just happened. Till August 20th, 2026. I don't know what the day. I know it's Thursday. I know it's Jim Croce Day. It started out just like a dream, and like a dream I knew that what we had would have to end. But I was looking for a lifetime lover, and you were looking for a friend. I reach in. When I get people in prayer, I roll with it. Jesus told me to. Okay? You do know that Blue Chew ad by Coco and Ice-T was made before today, right? That someone can be dumb as fuck yesterday and totally saved today. Really? Get the Lazarus out of here, motherfucker. You're full of shit. I'm full of shit? Let's go to La Posta and spend money for food instead of share food with people that want to live Psalms and Proverbs today, but yesterday wanted to make money off of holding food hostage and selling it to drug dealers. Come on now, baby. This is Las Cruces effing fucking New Mexico. You know how many drug dealers got that room to celebrate their daughter's quinceañera? They don't care whose money it is. It's just money. And all money is good money in the valley of the Rio Fucka Grande. Want to talk about being Sicaro? Want to have Guy play your wedding? Wesley Snipes, the drug dealer? It's the New Jack Swing, right? You know who I'm talking to. He was in that movie. Yeah. So when people talk to me in prayer, it's they always test this if I'm for real. It's like, you need to ask yourself if you're for real. Don't ask if I'm for real. It's obvious I'm for real. Okay? I've been proving it since Spencer J. Kimmel came up with that bullshit before I was 4 years old at the Easter sermon at the Mormon church. If people didn't believe that this kid was for real by then, they ain't never was going to believe. Okay? When a kid who's not even 4 sits up and says, no, he's wrong. It's wrong to kill Jesus to pay for the bad guy's sins. Dad, Mom, and me watch the Lone Ranger every day here. And when Butch Cavendish sends the good guy to jail to pay for his crimes and threatens to kill the good guy's family if he tells what happened, Tonto and the Lone Ranger have to come and get the good guy out of jail and put Butch Cavendish in jail. So Spencer J. Kimball's wrong. Okay, I was 3 years and 9 months old. Okay, do you understand? I knew that was happening, and I also know that I'm sitting there having to sit there and listen tonight if they're going to spray the pesticides again, because it's the water was done for the things and lawsuits, and so I have to get up, and then I'll have to get up and turn on the air conditioner and water down the house and get the pesticides out of that and do that. I went out, mosquitoes did bite me in the garage when I was filling the coolers and in the garage. Guys, I have one of the most efficient immune systems in the history of the world. Okay? Whatever that parasite thing was in my lettuce, it was pretty, when trees came out, it was pretty powerful, it was pretty bad, and I thought I was going to hospital. I was like, yeah, they're killing me, I'm dying here. It was horrible. It lasted about 2 days. And I had diarrhea, but it was more cramped, painful diarrhea than it was just get it out and get it over with. And it was a parasite, that was in the food, and from Mexico, because they're really bad people. Yeah, okay. Want to talk about Sicario? Do you know how the CIA works? Well, they came up with a thing called the Tuskegee experiments, and they killed my cousin Nesta Bob Marley for trying to get everybody to pay attention to the descendant of John the Baptist named Haile Selassie. Okay? It says so in the Bible. It even says so in the Abrahamic Bible. Okay? Yeah, even though the CIA fucked it up, they turned it into tribal, secular, insular warfare. Okay? And saying that the line of that Bob's dad's line was bad and Bob's mom's mom line was good. Okay? And Captain Marley's an asshole. Okay? I don't have to kick Captain Marley's ass. He kicked his own ass by being an asshole and going down in history as an asshole like John McCain and other dumbasses. Bomb, 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 Iran. Okay? You don't have to kick an asshole's ass. They'll show it to you and tell you it's the best ass in the history of an ass-kicking contest for money. They're dumb as fuck. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. We have to fulfill the book. Gosh, damn, they're so stupid. You have to grab them by the hand and come on, let's get out of hell. Come on. Heaven is living the Lord's Prayer. Hell is fighting over money and skin color and sexual orientation and drugs for sexual intortion, skin color, genocide through bad sex practices. You're bad heterosexually again. God damn, girls. I said it. I didn't mean to. Possessive pronoun damn. No, I meant to say it. I'm tired of it. I was raised on American TV. Yeah, I do say things like that. My dad used to say it all the time when we worked on the international pickup truck, and I didn't sit there, you're using the Lord's name in vain. I sat there and I said, I totally agree with you. God damn this truck, it sucks. You can't help it. It's magical thinking. Are we going to fix this thing and get it to run right? No. Well, God damn it, then let's just take it up on Casper Mountain, drive it off and watch it blow up, and then, dance a jig all the way back home. Guys, it was like 10 below in that garage. We had the kerosene heater burning, and we were in there working on that fucking Universal joint again. I hated that truck with a purple fucking passion. I wanted the Ford back so bad. So did he. I wish I still had that Ford. I wish you still had that Ford too. I hated that he just wanted a four-wheel drive. That truck was a turd. It fell apart driving out of the goddamn, off the goddamn lot. I'm certain of it. I hated that truck. The Ford, it wasn't a four-wheel drive, but it was steady. Yeah, it was like Lawrence's old truck. Yeah, it was a good truck. I mean, that thing, it ran forever and a day. Ever and a day, ever and a day. It was old, reliable. It was easy to fix. Everything was pop, 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 back together. Like the old Plymouth that I had. Just take it apart, put it back together. There it was going again. That went bad. Take it apart, put it back together. There it was going again. Those old cars, it was just swapping out parts and getting it to go. And if the engine was, strong enough to be going and not a turd like a Corvair to do this and that, you could keep that little slant 226 going as long as it ran good. It didn't have air conditioning. 11th April. Turn on the air conditioner. It's on. Why are the windows down? That's the air conditioner. It was funny. It was an old car. Okay, guys, which is a good thing because there's not a magic Freon filter in the sky. You can sweat and be more healthy than breathing in chemicals to keep yourself cool because you're making nature accommodate to you. Just sweat like the old cowboys used to, riding across the West in those old days. Get your kicks on Route 66. We'll talk later, okay? Good prayer connections. We'll talk later. I love you guys. Stand up for that Lord's Prayer. Believe in it with all your being. We are post-apocalypse. You're welcome.